All right, we're live. We're triple streaming right now. Stream on stream on stream. All right. Let's do this. We're gonna start with a face, I think, and then we'll do a figure drawing next. All right. Get with that. Do we see a face? Do we see a face? All right. Okay. It has begun. Oh, look at this. A debonair fellow. I think. Right? Do you see a face? Y'all see a face in there? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Alright, let's put in some shadows. Where's my big piece of charcoal? Where is my charcoal? Here we go. Alright, so let's just start on this side, I guess. Something like that. Not too concerned on anything just yet. We're just making some decisions. Oh. Rosie just cheered some bits. Thank you, Rosie, for cheersing the 5 bits. Oh, there we go. All right, so now we got some shadows in there. What you think? Face is coming forward just a little bit more. I will remind you, if you're on YouTube, where you can join us on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, you can join us on YouTube. All right, so I'm going to use this paper towel to smudge around the charcoal a little bit to bring out some gray area. The paper is the white. The charcoal gives us the black area, and then when I smudge it around with this paper towel, I get a little bit of some gray tone. Rosie says, my brother said he's gonna come after me due to some spamming his channel with bits. Yeah, you don't have to give me them bits. Keep your bits to yourself. I mean, I'll take them, but I don't need you can just hang out. You don't have to give me any bits. But I appreciate it. It's nice of you to be thoughtful. But it's all good. You can enjoy the drawing without having to donate bits or whatever they're called. Alright, so this is looking like a face. I think I really want to bring out I really need to bring out his eyes. Let's do that. Focus on these pupils a little bit. Something like that. While we're here, let's darken his nostrils. Something like that. And then last but not least, we'll take our flatten this up a little more. Our electric eraser. Add a little highlight to those eyes right there. I think that's it. Okay, so that'll be the first one. Are we in focus still? And there we go, there's our first face. Ta-da! Oh, look at all the emotes. What's up, Darius? How you been, my dude? What's new with you? How's the new year treating you? What kind of new creative projects you got going on? All right, let's do some figures. What's up, Wes? Wes Johnson, thank you for joining us on the chat. Wes, we're also on Twitch if you want to join us over there. There's a community there as well. Darius, I'm seeing you on both platforms, on Twitch and YouTube, huh? You punk. I'm not calling him a punk. That's his username on Twitch. Alright, so we're looking at some jazz musicians here. Oh, I kind of like this one. Alright, so I think we might have to open up this box of charcoal because I'm running out of charcoal. Alright, what do we have here? Medium, I could use a medium. Let's not drop these. That's the thing about charcoal pencils, if you drop them, they're useless. Yeah, I'm on both because I like both formats for different. I do the same thing, dude. I like to watch on YouTube because there's no commercials. But sometimes I like the way the chat runs on the Twitch. I'm the same way. Look, Rose is on both too. Wes, though, I see you, my guy. Wes, are you on the Twitch as well? Okay, so let's give this a shot. Y'all ready? All right. Here goes nothing. Okay, alright, okay. Okay, alright. Maybe they go off here. And this is his arm here. Bear with me, y'all. Okay, alright, so this is what we have to work with. Does anybody see what it is? Can anybody tell what it is yet? Alright, bear with me. Alright, okay. Alright. Something like that. Okay. Something like that. I'm not trying to be too focused on whether I'm drawing all my proportions or anything correctly. I just want to kind of have fun in the drawing. So that's what we're doing here. I'm not even concerning myself with whether it's anything. And sometimes I'll try to hold the pencil in awkward positions, maybe. Okay, so this is gonna be tough, but let's try to get this. Okay. Alright, so these keys are gonna be tough. Something like that, and then something like this. Right? Maybe they just go right off the page over here, you know? Alright, so let's try some charcoal. Alright, so then let me find my shadows. Look at Rose got emotes everywhere. Okay, so let's find some shadows here. Yes, okay, then back over here. Alright, then over here. So here, and then we also, each one of these keys that we were drawing needs to be shaded like it's a piano, you know? Something like that. And then this is actually all like dark, but we can actually see like a reflection of the keys on this part of the piano there. Alright, and then this part is also kind of dark and okay, alright, something like this, something like this. Alright, this guy's wearing a bit of like a little beret thing, and we should be able to see a lapel here, like some kind of thing. And then I want to focus on his hands here a little bit more. You know, I don't want him to look too realistic, but I do want to start to kind of like feel that there are fingers, you know, some kind of madness like that. All right, this is fun. Yo, how am I gonna pull this back? How are we gonna save this? How are we gonna pull this image back into reality? Well, let's figure it out. All right. So we're just gonna use a little bit of paper towel here. Smear around. Oh, this is the tough part. We thought it was chaos before. Wait till you'll see it now. All right. But this is where it all comes together. So let's find the highlights here. So he's got like a highlight across his forehead here. You know what, I'm trying to place all the things I see, but they don't necessarily have to be in the right spots. You know, as long as I know there's a highlight there in the image I'm looking at, I'm gonna put a highlight somewhere here. But it doesn't have to be the exact proportion or the exact spot. Over time, I'm trusting that my creative impulses and my creative subconscious will kind of do some of the work for me. And also, like as a viewer, it's kind of like looking into a cloud where I feel like sometimes just the act of looking up into the sky and seeing the shape of a cloud will create some of the images that you see. And if you do your drawing with that kind of philosophy, people will start to see the images in your scribbles just like you see images in the clouds, you know? All right, are we starting to see a guy playing the piano yet, or what? Trying to highlight his fingies here a little bit. You know, trying to give the impression that maybe he's playing the piano so fast that it might be a little hard to put my finger on it, you know? For lack of a better words, put my finger on it. Okay, and then what kind of highlights? We got like a highlight here across the piano maybe. And it looks like we have some highlights here. Alright, where do we have some more highlights? In his jacket here across the shoulder, up across his collar, down his shoulder here, across his shoulder here, something like that. And then he's got some like shadows in this shoulder that goes something like that. I need those shadows there so I can follow some highlights. Something like that. Alright, and then it looks like he's also kind of wearing this little hat that's got some highlights on it up top. Something like that. And even though, thanks Darius. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been trying to do some new stuff. Been doing some jazz musician, some things like that. But yeah, you saw how chaotic it was when we started, but it's starting to turn into what it's supposed to be. You know, it's just it takes a little bit of trust in yourself to just kind of let it happen. And last but not least, like I see like our fella here, he's got these shades on, and I want to make sure we kind of got these shades in our drawing. Really make sure we got those. You know, and if we really want to give the audience somewhere to focus, give them that pupil. You know, that really dark pupil that they can look into, right? And then let's spot where the light is coming from. Give him a little bit of highlight in his eyes there. Boom. I think that's it. I think that's our jazz pianist. I think that's our guy. What do you think? I think it came out pretty well. Pretty good, I mean. I think it came out well. I think pretty good. I don't know. Yeah. That was fun. Darius says, I like where this is going. Rose says, yee, she's living for the chaos. I appreciate y'all. If you're on YouTube, we're also on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, we're also on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow. We have a Discord if you want to join the Discord. You could share some of your artwork. We'll take a look at that at the end of the stream. But we'll move on now from a jazz pianist to let's do another portrait. Thank you for being here. If you're on the YouTube vertical, this is what my face looks like. We got, be sure and join us on the Twitch. Thanks, Darius. Darius says it looks great. All right, so let's do a portrait. Oh. Man, I can't. Good enough. We'll deal with that later. Alright, so we're gonna do another portrait here. What do y'all think? Pull the wheel schedule down for now. Oof. Message retracted. What did you do, Rose? Alright, so here's a pencil, and here's my other pencil, and I go through these things. Alright, y'all. We're going with two hands again. Okay, alright, okay. Sometimes something different happens, I guess, right? Wow. Interesting. Okay, alright. What do we see? Do y'all see that? Never know. You never know what's gonna happen. This is what we came up with. Fee McGee. What the heck? I ain't seen you in a while. Who let this nerd stream? You did. Also, Fee, you should check us out. We're also streaming on YouTube. Vertically, horizontally. We're restreaming. Darius says, I've never drawn vertically before. Do artists do it because of the proportions are easier to see than on the table, or is it more for arm movements? It's just kind of how I learned to draw. Also, it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. I guess maybe I don't have to set up a separate camera. Also, like, if I sit for too long, like, it starts to hurt my back all bent over the picture. I kind of think like in my imagination, like all the masters, I think, kind of drew on an easel, and also like I used to do a lot of painting, so maybe that has something to do with it. Who knows? Who knows? It's just what I like. It's just the most convenient, I think, is why I'm doing it like this. On an easel, I think is what you mean. You said vertically, but I think you meant like on an easel, right? Where is my charcoal? Dude, how do I lose everything? I know it has to be here. Here we go. Yeah. It's just how I learned, I think, on easel. You know, again, maybe it's just because I painted a lot, or because I'm on stream, or because it's comfortable for my back. I think it could be any of those things. Where should his hands be? Here? That. Thank you for the love. Yes, charcoal is awesome. Thought it was chocolate. Oh, dang. Smudged a lot more than I thought it would, huh? It's okay, that's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Alright. So I don't have a reference right now. I'm just kind of freestyling, so who knows what's gonna happen. But I try to use like some of the same formulas in a way where it's like whatever I'm focusing on shape wise or light and contrast wise, wherever I put my attention, is the same place I put my attention on these like little sketches, but it's just a little different because I don't have a reference here, and the drawing starts to kind of become its own reference. It's like once I start to see something in the cloud, I just try to embellish it or reiterate it. You know, when I find something in the cloud, kind of like when you see a drawing or when you see an image in a cloud that's not there. I start, you could see an image on a sheet of paper that's not actually there. It's just scribbles. But when that image starts to show itself to me, thanks for the 5 bits, Rose. But also keep your money. But when I start to see the image in my imagination from the scribbles, I try to start to bring out that image. So let's say the highlight is this side. If that's the case, I need to hit some highlight marks here so we know that the highlight is coming from this side. So we'll sharpen those highlights on this edge so that we really understand that the light is coming from this way. I mean, we have some edge light here too, but most of the light is coming from this direction. I mean, we just have to make a decision. So we'll put a little bit of focus here on those pupils. The light's coming from this way, then so will our little glow in the eye here. And there we go. I think he's done. What do you think? So we were doing portraits and we were doing figures, but this is kind of somewhere between a portrait and a figure, huh? Yeah, I kind of like it. It's pretty interesting. It's fun. Thank you, Rose. Rosie Cosplay. Fifi McGee. What you been doing? You been doing any new tattoos? I need to show you. I have so many new tattoos since we've talked. What have you been doing, Fee? Are you still hanging out? That side eye? Yeah, he's definitely side eyeing. Show it to the. That's fun. Chaos. All right, moving on. All right, so this may be our last drawing, and then we'll go back to chatting on Twitch. I think we're gonna do another jazz musician. I think maybe we try a singer or a bass player or a piano player or a saxophone. I'm just looking through pictures of musicians on Google, trying to find some that are interesting but also not obvious. You know, if anybody has any requests. Alright, let's see what we got. This guy looks fun. Let's go with this one. Alright. Alright. Where is my other pencil? Forever losing everything. Alright, we ready? Let's do it. Okay, something like that. Okay, something like this. Okay, something like that. Okay, something like this. Alright, I can get with that. You know, it might not be the most exciting underdrawing I've done, but I'm okay with it. Let me fight a couple more of these angles here. Okay. Alright. Okay, there's our jazz man. Okay, we gotta find a couple more of these lines here. Okay, alright, and then let's give a little bit of thought here. See what that does. Just a little bit more thought than we have done with some of the other parts, like just so it starts to look like a real hand. But not too far, you know. I don't want to blow the urgency of it. You see how, because that looks a little more subjective, the movement of the drawing is kind of slowed down a little bit, like the interpretation of the drawing changes. But it'll be okay if it's just maybe just a couple spots here and all that. But I think I might want to loosen it up just a little bit more, like this. You know, that way it feels a little bit more interpretive. Okay, I can get with that. Another thing I want to do is he's got some sunglasses on. Alright. You know, got some eyes under there. Got a couple nostrils. All right. Let's not overdraw the underdrawing. All right, so let's start moving to some shadows. How about draw your very own jazz posture? I have to find a picture of me, you mean, playing jazz? Okay, so let's find some shadows here. So I feel like there's an arm back here that's in shadow. This horn has a shadow kind of all the way around it, something like that. Alright, there's also kind of like a shadow here in this horn. Goes all the way around there. There's actually no hand here, but there's like so many little like gadgets and little pipes and things on a saxophone. It's got so many little levers and knobs and thingamawhatsits. Anybody know what those things are called? But keys, probably. They're probably called keys as well. Alright, so we're just trying to bring that to life a little bit. Alright, sorry, let's get back to these shadows. Shadow here, up a shoulder, here. Looks like he's got some shadow here. He's got like a lanyard connected to his instrument there. Shadow back here on the shoulder here. Alright, let's find some shadows on his face. Feel like maybe we've decided that the light is coming from this side, maybe. Alright, what do we think? Is it starting to look like a jazz man yet? Alright, so last but not least, we're gonna take our paper towel. This is the scary part, y'all. Oh, it always makes me nervous. Everything changes. You know, but sometimes you gotta let go of control. Let change happen. You know, what happens is what's gonna happen. Okay. Here's our guy. Let's get back in there. Let's find our highlights. So I feel like we got a shiny spot here that's his forehead. Okay. Again, I'm just trying to find the highlights. They don't have to be in the right spots. Let's just see a highlight and draw it in. If it's in the wrong spot, it doesn't matter. I'm not drawing his jazz just like the music he's playing. So there's no right or wrong. You know, we're color right outside the lines. Jazz taught us anything? It's that you can color outside of the lines. And that's what we're doing here, finding some highlights in his sleeve here. Oh, let's remember that we had kind of like a hand going here. Right. The highlight on top of his hand. Okay, if that's a hand here, then maybe there's another one back here. Alright. Big highlight on the top of this horn. Something like that. Looks like it goes all the way around. Okay, and then we have another highlight like down the center of the horn like that. Kind of comes around here. Another highlight right down the center of the horn here. We can bring those highlights out more. Some highlights in his shirt right there. Maybe define the difference there. I think I don't want to over. There's a little bit of a highlight, a separation there. I feel like this part of his face could be softened up. Okay, all right. I'm digging it. So let's put a little bit of a hard edge on some of these highlights. So like, be a nice hard highlight there. One that goes around here like that. This one that goes down here like that. You know, I liked the way this highlight goes down this horn here. It's like it goes all the way down. Like that. Something like that. Maybe some highlights in these buttons. Okay, let's maybe brighten up some highlights, maybe on what is the tip of his nose, I guess. Where his eyes are. His cheeks, his ears, his chin, maybe. His lips around the horn. What other kind of highlights do we have here? His fingers. His fingies. I feel like we could break some of this area here, you know, and maybe even break some of this area here. I feel a little bit like motion. I think that we've established this cap. It's more like that. All right. Now, last but not least, let's give the audience somewhere to focus. This cat also has on glasses. So let's respect the swag. Right? Sure. He got his shades on, right? But behind those shades, I want to see his pupil. And in his pupil,